All right, do I have one for you this time, people? We got 8-inch Nemesis Audio Fierce Series in a Wedge twin Octo-Port enclosure. That's right, twin 8-inch to be exact Octo-Port enclosures with custom decal logo. Here we go. All right, everything starts off the same. Get my cut sheet, rip everything down to size. When I do wedge enclosures, I always pre-cut everything, get my angle straight, just to make that assembly process that much quicker. And if you've been with me long enough, you ought to know the steps by now. I pretty much keep everything the same, no matter what the enclosure is on my wedges. Processes are always the same. Dry clamp everything into place. Use my straight edges, cut everything down. Use my skill saw to rip them down, or I get them on the table saw, whichever one I feel like messing with. All right, all pieces are cut. Let's start assembling. As you already know, 100% glue coverage on every joining seam. The arrow there is highlighting the clamps that I use. It's got the swivel in, allows you to still clamp the piece in a 90-degree angle when you're messing with wedge edges. That's the ones I like to use. Clamps where I need to be, 1 5/8 wood screws about every 2 to 4 inches. Hit it with a little bead of glue on the inside, nothing much. All right, left and right side, back, bottom assembled. I'm gonna start working with the front piece. Repeating the process. I think I added that piece in there twice for you. Editing issues. You saw my screw placement there. Now I'm going to go ahead and get ready to mark out for the bracing. Just getting everything level. These are just scrap pieces I'm using, the straight edges, marking everything out. I'll get ready to start screwing it down. I won't have to guess or pull out the tape again or the level. I just got to keep my piece in between my pencil marks. And with the box being this size, I'm going to double up and do 2 3/4 inch pieces together and get it where it'll be 1.5 inches thick on my brace. And you know me, I like the picture frame. Doesn't take up a lot of displacement, and it keeps your enclosure rigid and solid. Took it over to my router table and hit it with the flush trim bit. Now I got a smooth template that I can attach to the secondary piece to get that 1.5 inch thickness. I'll go ahead and secure it into place. Screws to hold it tight, and I'm going to add 1 1/4 inch wood screws. Again, same process, router flush trim bit, and hit it with a small round over on the inside edges only, just to help with that airflow. And I adjusted my round over a bit too tall on one section here, and I'll show it. It took a little bit more off than I needed. It won't affect the integrity of the box. There it is right there. I just wanted to show that to you in case you did see it and you were saying it there in the back and pointing, talking about, ooh, ooh. Yeah, there you go. That's for you, fella. I'll go ahead and secure this into place. Glue 1 5/8 wood screws, get them clamped into place. And you see that arc in the middle. I stacked some scrap pieces to get that bow so I can pull it down in the middle, because I can't put a clamp in there. That's the whole reason for that. Hold it in place while I add the screws so it doesn't push away from me. Now that I got the main brace in, I'll go ahead and add a front and a rear brace. Just using 3/4 inch on this one. Just tying in that frame bracing, the bottom, the top, and the front of the box. And I'll repeat the same thing on the back as well. Just to get this box nice and solid. They're not heavy duty subs, but it's just so many of them in here. I figure why not. Secure it into place. I'll repeat the process for the back one. Now offset them, stagger them so I can still put my screws in. But you see it was real tight, so I had to use that little 1/4 inch knuckle to get that drill bit to fit off in there. My actual drill wouldn't fit. That's that staggered set I was talking about. I could have used pocket hole screws, but I prefer this technique myself. All right, go ahead and add the top piece. Marked out all my bracing down below. Before I add it on, I went ahead and added a back bracing to the 2 pieces here. Put some 45s on them, secure those into place. Got my box tilted so it's level, so when I put the top piece on, it doesn't shift and slide on me. That's what I'm checking for there. I'll go ahead and secure this one into place. Now the box is whole, it's complete. Hit it with a light sanding on my edges. I'll go ahead and start marking out the port openings. Now I am going with Octo-Ports, but I'm going with a circle cutout on these. I've done it both different ways. I want to go this route, try a different technique, just to try to keep myself sharp. That's all I'm doing here. That way no box is ever the same as the next one. Just checking my OD. It's the first time using these subs, you see how tight these are. Very tight. That's why I don't like these newer model subs where they got the big magnet and the cutouts. It makes it a lot harder for the builder. All right, now, what am I doing? I think I'm working on the flush trim baffle now. Yeah. Get those marked. I use some scrap pieces of previous subwoofer holes that I've cut out. Mark those to get my contour. I make my own stencils. Try to stay creative. Put a little rabbit edge on the bottom side so I can tuck my fabric later. Knock off any rough edges by hand. Now get ready to secure this in place. Put a bit of glue, and I used 1-inch screws on this one, just for some added security. While that glue sets up. Yeah, coming together. Coming together. He's gonna like this. Now, I think that's what I'm starting now is the port openings now. That's what I'm doing. Finding my locations where I want them, making sure that the mounting depth of the subwoofer is not gonna hit it, and it's still balanced and even all the way around. Now I'm gonna go figure out the diameter, the inside diameter of the port, and I'm trying to keep them 8 inches is what I'm doing here. Getting a template to follow when I start putting these pieces together. Double checking my outside diameter just to make sure that it will slide in the hole, and also maintaining that 8-inch inner diameter. Gotta stay focused. Probably making it harder than what it really is, but again, this is my technique. This is what I like to do. Now I'll go ahead and stack them out. Look at them looking like gold bricks. Everything cut up is gonna be twin 8-inch Octo-Ports. And this is how I do mine. I seen this years ago. Get your fence locked in place. Put you some masking tape down, sticky side up, and then stack your pieces in. Run your beaded glue on the inside edges that are touching, and also your outer edges, and then just roll them together. They roll up, tape holds them in place. You really want to be concerned with the inside versus the outside. Just get them tight. I backed it up with some masking tape as well. And a lot of people don't do this on their ports. I usually add a front and a back piece just to give it some extra rigidity, tying all your outer pieces in, because there's no screws in this. It's just 100% glue, and this is just for added security. Wait for them 21-inch incriminator audios. That's the only thing I think that's the first time I've used them subs. That's sad. Try to get creative here and notching out my terminal cups. I took a come off my route a bit and knocked a chunk out of there. So do not try that at home. Don't try to make your own bits. Buy them from the store. Now that they've set up, I'll go ahead and route these out, rough them out with the jigsaw. Hit it with the flush trim bit, and you can see how it ties it together. It gives it that extra material and gives it that strength on the front and the back. Now I am marking, trying to get the outer cut to match the inner cut of my edges so everything is the same. Those are just templates taped into place. Hit it with the flush trim bit. Now I have a lip that I'll be securing that to the back of the box when I put those in place. Some sanding, scraping, working the insides, getting them prepped up. That runoff, just hit it with a scraper. Some light sanding. There's them twin ports. I'll get this flush piece that I'm going to do. This will be a 1/2-inch piece. Clamped it into place. Hit it with a flush trim bit, and I trimmed out the back side as well, just so I'll know what I'm dealing with. Got that notched out. Now I'll set these in place, and then I'll make sure everything is square, because like I said, this is going to be my flush trim piece, so that the ports will sit flush. They won't stick out like you see in other boxes. And that right there is acrylic piece is just going to be my gapping that I'll need for my material. Go ahead and secure some scrap pieces into place. Put my little template, and that's what those are. Route those out. Now the port, once this piece goes into place, the port lip will sit flush all the way across. We'll go ahead and get creative here. This is where I'm gonna put that logo at. So I'm gonna knock this out, get it cut out, put a little rabbit edge on the back of it. Well, actually all 3 sections. So I can tuck my fabric. I should be getting ready to install this. Yeah. Get ready to put this into place. I hope you can kind of see it now. See it coming together. I just like my stuff to flow. Everything's as best I can, try to keep the surfaces even. There's that glue after it's set up on that piece. Put a little rabbit edge on it as well. It won't be seen, you know, but I just wanted to show it to you. I'm gonna go ahead and make my terminal cups. These are those plates that are gonna cover those up that I just made. Here, I'm just making sure my cuts are right. Double checking myself, and I'm just gonna show you what they look like once they're in place. They don't have to be this cosmetically straight. Like I said, I just do a lot of this stuff just to keep myself sharp is all it is. Nobody's gonna see the inside of this box. But the attention to detail, I mean, it sets them apart. I like to be different. Go that extra step for my customers. Go ahead and screw each side into place. 1¼ wood screws. And glue, of course. Any gaps, through a little sand on it, or sawdust, not sand. And there you go. Now I'll drill my 1/4" holes out for the bolts later, for the positive and the negative. I'll be wiring up 4 subs to each terminal. Get back on these ports, get ready to paint these up. Put a little round over on the inside and on the back to help with that airflow. Just a quick show you what they look like. Yeah, these turned out real nice. Get them prepped and hit it with some primer. These, since they're going to be white, I try to use white primer just to kind of help lay that foundation. If you use darker colors, use a dark primer, a gray or a black. But when you use painting them white, I try to use like a white primer base paint and just primer it, sand it, prime it, sand it, 220 sanding paper until you get the surface that you want, that you like, and then start going back with paint. I think I did 3 coats of paint and then 3 coats of clear on these, letting them set. Each coat, I think I did the paint, I let it set overnight. I would work on other things. Didn't want to rush that, didn't want to get any runs and stuff like that. Here I'm showing you the reason I paint the backs of the walls flat black, not gloss black. So even throw that over to cover it up, you can't see anything in there. It makes it all disappear. So when you look through them ports, it just looks like it's never ending. That's why I like flat black over gloss black. Brought this down to the house, try to get this logo knocked out. In the recliner, I think I was watching Perry Mason, if I'm not mistaken. Got that figured out, and I'm gonna put a little rabbit edge on the back of that because I'll be wrapping that fabric around, getting it to tuck. Here I'm using my Dremel to actually get the logo cut out, and I did this on the last Nemesis box I did. If you go back and look at that video, it's almost the exact same technique. Different Dremel, but same technique. Give me some stencils, double face tape, put them into place to use as my fence, as my guide as I'm running my bit, and lowering it between each pass. I think I lowered it about 1/4 inch total once I got the depth I wanted. That was it. It was just had to take my time with it. And there's the tool I'm going to do to get the arcs. Piece of 1/4 inch hardboard. Got a tight fit in there. Pre-drilled some holes till I got the arc that I needed and kept playing with it until it came together, and that was it. That's how I made it. Put a little chamfer bit on the outside edge. Just some little transition. It makes it look better. I was test fitting it on the box, and that's why I wanted to put that on there. All right, now I have everything mashed off so I can paint the actual end. The reason I do this because the fabric I'm using is not real thick. This will stop the bleeding through of the light brown off the MDF, and it'll make that end actually pop harder when I've got the background painted like that. That's why I paint it only. I seen a guy mentioned this one time, instead of using hardboard, why don't I just cut a lip around the outside edge and save time and material. So I said, okay, I'll give it a try. I'm game for that. So that's what I'm doing here on the outside edges. It won't be seen once it's put in the vehicle. So that's why I was more apt to try it on here, just to see what happens. It actually turned out nice. Actually, I think I went a 1/4 inch deep on this. Again, it just had to take my time with each pass, lower it a little bit. It can be time consuming, but it wasn't a real rush at this point to get the box built, and I felt like this was a good opportunity to try this. I'm going to knock off some of them sharp edges before I get ready to add this fabric, just to prevent any tearing and ripping later. Two-part contact, spray the surface, spray the back of the fabric. Let it sit for about 2 minutes, 5 minutes tops, until it's tacky, or the tackiness is gone, it's dry to the touch, and it won't come off your finger. And that's usually when I put them back on. Masked off just to prevent that overspray, because I've already spray painted the back of the box with the flat black. That was the reason I covered the insides like that. So the preventative measures will help you in the long run. Just working my way all the way around. And this fabric will stretch a little bit. It doesn't stretch a lot, but it will stretch enough to make that 3/4 drop. Just added secondary pieces. Again, that rabbit edge is where it comes in handy. Got everything tucked around and like that. I'll go ahead and work the sides, and I'm covering up just again to prevent overspray. That's why I got that stuff like that. And you can see the edges. That turned out pretty good. Definitely no complaints. I like that. May end up using that again in the future. Appreciate you, bro. I forgot what your name was, but I definitely appreciate you. If you see this, give yourself a shout out on this one. Secured the bottom staples just to prevent lift later on. I'm trying to get creative and prevent overspray on this so I can add the secondary fabric. That was notebook paper and tape, I think. Got that rubbed and tucked into place. Rough that with my knife. Get that 2-color transition. Tying it together. Looks very good. Customer was excited as I was posting on Instagram. He was chiming in. Boy, he was cheesing. Go ahead and pre-drill all my mounting holes for the subs. Marked it with a pencil and took them out and hit it with that nail just to stop the drill bit from moving as you're drilling. Showing you how my wire each set of 4 down. Use some 12 gauge sound cube wire on this one. That's what I had laying around the shop. No, 10 gauge, my fault, not 12 gauge, 10 gauge. And just dropped them in one at a time. Worked each one. Put my 1/4 inch bolts in place. Zip tied any loose hanging wire so that you're not seeing it from the port. That's what that was for. Marked each end with a marker, red and black. All right. Now it's starting to look like something. Coming together nicely. Almost there, fellas. Now we can go ahead and install these ports. Now don't cringe on me. All I'm using is glue. 100% glue coverage. There's no bolts, there's no screws. Fall for the faint heart, you might sit down. Just glue them into place, weight it down, let it set overnight. Trust me, you gotta have faith in your glue. That glue will not come loose, I'm telling you. I've done this too many times. I'll go ahead and work the logo on here, and I outline the middle part in pencil, cut it out, cut it to the separate pieces, hit it with the glue, front and back, let it set up, and then push them into place. And just took my tool and just started working it around a little at a time. Remember, the white is just paint. I haven't added the white yet. That's just paint. Some scuffs and scratches and a little light blue. You're not gonna see none of that when I put this on here. Excuse me, and you can see it. I'm gonna do the white fabric. See that? Stops all the bleed through. The white pops bright. That's what you wanna go for when you're using some thinner fabric like this. Repeated the process on the back. That rabbit edge, took my blade, trimmed out all that excess. And the reason I put that rabbit edge on it because I'm gonna glue the logo to the box as well. So the fabric is raised up off of it, allowing the wood surfaces to touch. Here I'm hitting some spray glue on some scrap piece and just ran a bead around it with the brush because I'm gonna add a little piece of black fabric. I don't need to add the whole piece because like I said, I'm gluing this on there, so I wanna remove everything that's gonna be in the way. just enough to kind of fall on that rabbit edge on the back of that logo, and you can see it. That's a template piece. I sat down and traced it, removed it, and I just peeled it off, and you see that's all I'm leaving is that little lip just to fall right up under that rabbit edge of the logo. There you go, even signed it on you. I dare this piece to fall off, that's why I did that. Put that quarter turn in it like it is on the box on them subwoofers. And there you go, she's done. Now, this is the second Nemesis box I've done. The first one had 412s, same style logo, a little different on the technique, but that's how it came out. Customer was very happy, very excited. Didn't get to play it. I know y'all wondering, demo. No, there's no demo. It's hard for me to get these demos. Once I call them, they come zip zap and they're gone. Oh man, look at that transition. Ooh-wee. Appreciate you for watching. Y'all stay tuned for the next one. And thanks as always. I appreciate all you guys' support.